For many South Koreans, the brutal Netflix survival thriller Squid Game, about desperate adults who compete in lethal children's games for a chance to escape crushing debt, hit a bit too close to home. Since its premiere, the program has held the attention of viewers all across the world and has become the most popular series on Netflix, with 111 million accounts having watched the show. It has triggered strong emotions among its natives, where there is rising unhappiness over skyrocketing personal debt, failing job markets, and glaring economic disparities made worse by financial crisis over the previous 20 years. One of the worst effects this has had on South Korea directly is the sharp decline in the birth rate. To put it simply, the country is not producing enough babies. According to official data issued in August, South Korea has already broken its previous record for the lowest fertility rate in the world. The total fertility rate of a population is the average number of children that would be born to a woman over her lifetime. And in the country, it fell to 0.81 in 2021, about 0.03% less than the year before. In order to put that into perspective, the fertility rates in the United States and Japan, which both saw their lowest rates on record last year, were 1.6 and 1.3 respectively in 2021. The figure is 5 or 6 in several African nations, which have the highest fertility rates in the world. However, the trend has been more noticeable in South Korea, where family sizes have shrunk over the course of a few generations, especially when compared to the early 1970s, when women typically had 4 children. Since 2015, South Korea's birth rate has been declining, and in 2020, the nation for the first time reported more deaths than births, which meant that the population decreased in what is known as a population death cross. Politicians have known for years this is coming but have been unable to fix it. They have thrown billions of dollars at trying to convince people to have children and are still scratching their heads as to why this hasn't worked. In this video, we will tell you why developed countries are spending more than ever to convince people to have more children and why specifically South Korea's population decline might be catastrophic for its future. Welcome to another project. First of all, in order to understand why South Korea's birth rate has shrunk, you need to look at overpopulation and why countries have been trying to reduce the fertility rate for decades. For instance, the United States had one of the highest birth rates in the world in the early 1800s, with a typical mother giving birth to 3 kids. Abortion rates increased substantially between 1830 and 1860, reaching an estimated 1 in 5 pregnancies, and birth rates continued to fall as the Victorian era came to an end as women grew more knowledgeable about birth control options. Birth control methods are now more inexpensive than ever before, thanks to industrialization. Globally, fertility rates have decreased sharply during the past 50 years, falling by a total of 50%. The average family had 5 children in the world in 1952. Today, there are less than 3. During this time, overpopulation was the biggest enemy across North America, Europe, and some parts of Asia. Overpopulation worsened social factors such as pollution, malnutrition, and overcrowded living conditions, which made poor communities vulnerable to infectious diseases like the bubonic plague. But perhaps the most extreme cases of population control is probably from China. Deng Xiaoping introduced China's one-child rule in 1980, and it was tightly implemented after the population grew from 540 million in 1949 to 969 million in 1980. It forbade most couples from having more than 1 child, and for years, the National Health and Family Planning Commission enforced it with a system of fines for violations and frequently forced abortions. Authorities claimed it was a major contributor to the nation's economic boom. If they were discovered to have more than 1 kid, employees of government-affiliated organizations and university staff ran the possibility of losing their jobs. Second children could not be registered in the national household system if their parents did not pay a fine, which prevented them from having a legal existence by denying them access to social services like healthcare and education. Due to a long-standing social preference for boys, the strategy also resulted in sex-selective abortions or infanticides that targeted female babies. But despite this, China's birth rate has remained higher than South Korea's. So what exactly went wrong in the country? The demographic history of South Korea has been nothing short of spectacular, just like its economic growth. The population was primarily rural when the country left the Korean War in 1953, and in the decades that followed, fast expansion and urbanization were matched by family planning measures, which were started in the 1960s but intensified in the 1970s and 1980s with the aim of lowering birth rates. In fact, the total fertility rate started to decline more quickly in the 2000s during the financial crisis, dropping below 1.0 in 2018 as housing, childcare, and education costs increased, jobs became more difficult to find, and young people's anxiety about the future increased. The effects of the low fertility rate are already being felt throughout South Korean society. Currently exceeding the nation's annual economic output, household debt has reached over $1.5 trillion, and these difficult times have caused a record low birth rate to decline as struggling couples put off having children. Despite having a high level of education, South Korean women are not treated equally at work. The nation has the largest gender wage disparity of any wealthy nation. In South Korea, women still do the majority of the housework and childcare, and it's usual for them to quit working after having kids or for their careers to stagnate. The difference between the wealthy and the impoverished in South Korea is also greater than in almost any other country in the OECD, with one of the fastest expanding income discrepancies. This is primarily due to the fact that the ruling elite is corrupt and essentially above the law, making them some of the most hated families in the country. You can watch a complete video about this by clicking the top right corner. Sometimes contacting a loan shark is the best course of action when poverty strikes the lower classes of Korea. However, loan sharks operate under dubious conditions, requesting information such as the names of 10 close friends, the client's address, and the amount of the loan in installments and interest. However, because of the exorbitant interest rates, many clients experience tragic cases of suicide and death threats from loan sharks. The percentage of people whose annual income is less than half the median household income, or $14,500, is used to calculate the poverty rate. South Korea has a poverty rate of 17.4%, the second highest of the 35 countries analyzed. The population has decreased over the previous 2 years, causing schools to experience a student shortage. The military has also increased the eligibility standards for conscripts, and a declining number of persons of working age jeopardizes retiree pensions. So what is the actual solution? Before we continue, don't forget to like and subscribe if you're enjoying the video. It goes a long way in supporting the channel. To address the declining fertility rate, the South Korean government has implemented a number of measures in recent years, such as enabling both parents to take parental leave at the same time and extending paid paternal leave. Men have been urged by social campaigns to participate more actively in childcare and housekeeping, and in some regions of the nation, the government is providing new baby vouchers to parents to entice them to have more children. South Korea is also at the forefront of creating robots and artificial intelligence for the workplace due to the possibility of a declining labor force. Although the government has long been aware of the demographic catastrophe facing the nation, policy experts claim that it has not been effectively addressed. The government should allocate much more funds to childcare, increase the number of jobs available to young adults, improve housing accessibility, and promote immigration. But South Korea is not the only country trying to increase its fertility rate. As a result of low birth rates, financial incentives are increasingly being offered as a solution in countries, including Finland, Estonia, Italy, Japan, and Australia. Finland, for instance, offers parents a monthly allowance of €100 and family benefits programs like the newborn box starter kit. Families in Estonia are rewarded for having more kids. The amount of money a family receives increases with size. A comprehensive welfare system is in place in Japan to promote childbirth. The government assists couples who want to have children by giving them subsidies for childbirth, paid maternity leave, a monthly child care stipend for up to 12 years, and other benefits. It also offers grants of between 40,000 and 60,000 yen per month to single parents. But the real question is, if the government gave you a check to help with expenses, would you have a baby or have additional children in your family? Let us know in the comments below. We are always lurking to see your interesting takes. Here are some videos we handpicked we think you will enjoy next. Thanks for watching.